Welcome back, everyone, to Echoes of Ihsan. We're about to jump into a deep dive on a concept that's, well, honestly, it can be a bit tough to wrap your head around.
You're not wrong there.
We're talking about divine decree,
Ah.
Al-Qadar. And to help us make sense of it all, we're going to be looking closely at what's presented in Sunan al Tirmidhi, Volume 4.
Lots to unpack there.
Before we get lost in the details, though, let's just level set.
Oh.
Al-Qadar is basically the belief that Allah has already determined everything that's going to happen.
Right, from the big picture stuff down to the little everyday things.
But it's not like a rigid, everything is set in stone and we have no choice kind of thing.
Right, not at all. The way Islam understands Al-Qadar is it's really about balance.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You've got Allah's complete knowledge and will, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it also recognizes that our free will and the actions we take, they matter too.
So how do those two ideas even work together? Like, if Allah already knows what's going to happen, what's the point of us even trying?
That's exactly the kind of tension that the Hadith actually acknowledge. It's not trying to pretend it's not there.
Interesting. So where should we even begin to untangle all this?
Well, one of the things the Hadith do is they really highlight that, yeah, we experience making choices in our lives, and that feels real.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as Muslims, we believe Allah already knows what those choices are going to be.
Okay, so is there a specific hadith that kind of lays this out?
Definitely. Hadith 2137, it talks about the angel that comes to the womb, right?
Sure.
Even before a person is born.
Oh, wow.
And that angel records the person's fate, how long they'll live, what they'll do, if they'll be happy or sad. It really shows you how all-encompassing Allah's knowledge is.
So wait, if everything is already written down like that, then what does that even mean for free will? Why even bother striving if it's already decided?
That's where it gets fascinating, because even with this idea that things are predetermined, the Hadith still emphasizes that people make choices, you know? They act like they're in control.
It's like we're acting out a play that's already been written.
Exactly, but we're still the ones making the choices on stage.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's not that our choices don't matter. It's more like Allah already knows what we're going to choose. Kind of like, have you ever rewatched a movie?
Sure.
You know what's going to happen, but it doesn't make the movie any less real, right?
Right.
For the characters, it's all still unfolding.
Exactly. It's like that. The Hadith are pointing to something about how Allah's knowledge works. It's not really something we can fully grasp.
Yeah, I can see there.
We can't totally comprehend how He knows the future while also giving us the ability to choose. But just because we don't get it doesn't mean our choices don't have real consequences.
So it's not just going through the motions. Our choices really do matter, even
right.
if Allah already knows what they'll be.
Absolutely. And this actually leads to another really important point in this hadith. It's about the idea of a good ending.
Okay, how so?
It says, someone could do good deeds their whole life, but if their last actions are bad, they could end up, well, in hellfire.
Oh, wow.
And the opposite is true too. Someone who did a lot of bad things, if their last actions are sincere turning back to Allah, they could find salvation.
So it's like right up until the very end, things can change. It's not over till it's over.
Exactly. And this idea that you have to have a good end, it emphasizes that we can't just rest on our laurels. We have to keep striving to do what's right up to our last breath.
And it also means we shouldn't be judging other people based on what they're doing now. We never really know what's in their heart or how they're going to end up.
That's a really important point. It's a message of accountability, but also mercy. We're responsible for our own choices, but Allah's forgiveness is always there.
So this whole concept of a good ending, it's like a reminder that our relationship with Allah is a journey. It's not just a destination.
And that journey, it's woven right into the whole fabric of Al-Qadar.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I still keep coming back to this question. How can we reconcile the fact that Allah knows everything with our own ability to choose?
Well, that's where faith comes in. It's about trusting in Allah's plan even when we don't understand it, believing that His knowledge includes the choices we make, and that those choices have meaning in His grand design.
So surrendering to a bigger purpose while still actively shaping our own lives.
Exactly. It's a delicate balance, like a dance. We strive with everything we've got, but we also accept that the final outcome rests with Allah. That's where we start to see the real beauty and complexity of Al-Qadar.
So much to think about. I think we need a moment to let it all sink in. What we've covered so far has already given me a new perspective on things. I'm really looking forward to diving deeper into this with you.
Me too. There's so much wisdom and guidance to discover in these hadiths.
Okay, so we've talked about how Allah already knows everything, but we still have choices to make. But now I'm wondering, what even shapes those choices we make? Is it just like our own willpower? Or is something else going on?
That's a great question, and it actually brings us to another really important concept that's highlighted in the Hadith.
Yeah.
Fitra. Yeah, Hadith 2138 talks about this idea that every single person, they're born with this natural inclination towards Islam, like a pure state of recognizing and worshiping Allah.
So, like, we're all hardwired for faith from the beginning.
You could say that. Fitra is like, imagine it as a seed planted inside us. A seed with the potential to recognize our Creator and connect with Him. It's like the purest form of who we are.
Okay, I can see that. But then, if everyone's born with this fitra, this good nature, why are there so many different beliefs in the world? Why don't we all just naturally end up following Islam?
Well, that's where things get a little complicated. The Hadith also explains that external things can influence us.
External things like what?
It talks about our parents, society, the culture we grew up in, all these things. They shape how we see the world. And those influences, they can either help that seed of fitra grow, or they can, kind of smother it.
So it's like we all start with this potential for faith, but the environment we grow up in, it can make a big difference. Some people, their faith flourishes, while others, it might not have a chance to really take root.
Exactly. And this reminds us that we have a responsibility as individuals and as a community to try to create environments where that fitra, that natural inclination towards truth and goodness, has a chance to grow.
So it's not about forcing our beliefs on other people. It's more about trying to build spaces where people feel comfortable exploring their own connection with the divine on their own terms.
That's it. This hadith really makes us think about how we interact with people of different faiths and how we raise our own children. Are we encouraging openness and understanding? Are we creating an environment where that seed of fitra has a chance to blossom?
Yeah. It's a call for us to be more compassionate and understanding, realizing that everyone's on their own spiritual journey, shaped by so many things outside their control.
Right. We can respect other people's paths while still staying true to our own beliefs. And this actually leads to another important aspect of Al-Qadar, trusting in Allah's plan, even when things are difficult.
And let's be real, life throws curveballs at everyone. We all go through hardships, face challenges that test our faith.
No doubt about it. But Hadith 2148, it offers some really amazing advice on how to deal with those tough times without losing sight of the bigger picture of divine decree. You familiar with this one?
Refresh my memory.
It's the one where a man comes to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, complaining about a headache.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
It's a really relatable situation, right? We've all felt pain, discomfort, and it's normal to want to do something about it.
For sure.
But what's interesting is what the Prophet says. He doesn't just tell the man, well, it's Allah's will, so just accept it.
So what does he say?
He advises him to actually seek out a remedy for the headache.
So we're not supposed to just sit back and let things happen. We're actually encouraged to take action, try to make things better.
Exactly. The Hadith is showing us this balance between what we do and what Allah has decreed. We're not just puppets, We're part of the process.
Okay, so it's not a choice between either accepting things or taking action. It's both. We do our part, but ultimately the outcome is with Allah.
You got it. And this is where that idea of tawakkul comes in, trusting in Allah's plan. We do our best, knowing that it's all part of something bigger that we might not fully understand.
It's like imagine a huge tapestry being woven. We can only see a few threads at a time, but the artist sees the whole picture.
What a beautiful way to put it. And it reminds us that even when we struggle, even when things are hard, it could be serving a purpose in Allah's plan.
Even the hard stuff can be an opportunity for growth, right?
Exactly. A chance to strengthen our reliance on Allah and deepen our understanding of His wisdom.
So we're not supposed to just pretend the pain isn't there. We acknowledge it, we try to do something about it, but at the end of the day, we recognize that even when things feel chaotic, Allah is still in control.
And recognizing that can bring a lot of peace. It frees us from feeling like we have to control everything and helps us focus on aligning our actions with His will.
This idea of tawakkul is really powerful. It's not about giving up. It's about finding that strength and peace in knowing that Allah is always there no matter what.
It's an amazing thing, right? The more we let go and surrender to His will, the more we actually find ourselves empowered to deal with life's challenges.
I'm seeing that. This whole discussion about Al-Qadar is really eye-opening. We've covered so much ground, from how divine knowledge and human choice can coexist, to this idea of fitra and now this concept of tawakkul.
And we're just scratching the surface. There's still so much wisdom and guidance waiting for us in these hadiths.
You know, it's really amazing how these hadiths paint such a clear picture of Al-Qadar.
Yeah.
It's not just some abstract idea, but like a whole way of looking at life.
Right. We're not just floating along, things happening to us. We're actually taking part in this huge interconnected plan, but knowing that ultimately Allah is the one who sees the whole thing.
Exactly. And speaking of taking part, there's another piece of this that the hadith really emphasize: building good character.
Oh, absolutely. Hadith 2002 is a beautiful example of that. It says that on the day of judgment, the thing that will weigh most heavily on a believer's scale of deeds is their good character.
Wow. Their character actually outweighs everything else. That's pretty powerful. It's like, it's not just about the rituals, but about who we are as people.
Think about all the things that go into having good character. Kindness, compassion, honesty, humility, being trustworthy, patient. All these things, they not only shape how we live our own lives, but they impact the whole community.
Yeah, it's like if you have that good character as a foundation, then everything else you do flows from that. Your words, your actions, how you treat others. It's not just about going through the motions. It's about really living Islam.
You said it perfectly. And cultivating that good character, it's not something that just happens overnight. It's a constant effort to make sure our thoughts, words, actions, they're all aligned with what Islam teaches.
And it's not something we have to do alone.
Right. Definitely not. The Hadith actually talk about helping each other out with this. Like Hadith 1925, and encourages us to give sincere advice to our fellow Muslims, guide each other towards what's right.
Right. So it's about community, about supporting each other as we grow spiritually.
It's like, imagine a group of people all walking the same path, trying to better themselves, and along the way, they help each other out. That's the beauty of the Ummah.
And giving advice, it's not about being judgmental.
No, not at all. It's about approaching someone with that genuine care, wanting what's best for them. Because ultimately, we're all in this together. We all have our own struggles and triumphs.
We're all just threads in that big tapestry, right?
Exactly. Each one of us is part of that intricate design.
Yeah.
And how strong and beautiful the tapestry is depends on the quality of each individual thread.
So our actions have ripple effects. They don't just impact us, they impact everyone around us. And when we focus on being good people, acting righteously, being kind, that helps create a better society for everyone.
Absolutely. And this ties right back to the whole concept of Al-Qadar. We're not just isolated individuals making random choices. Our lives are all connected, and ultimately we're all part of this grand plan that Allah has ordained.
And knowing that He has already planned everything, that can be a source of real comfort, especially when things are tough.
It allows us to face those challenges with a sense of trust, to surrender and know that everything is happening for a reason according to His wisdom.
But it also motivates us to do our best, right?
Mhm.
To try to make choices that line up with His will and to work on those qualities that will bring us closer to Him.
It's that beautiful balance between accepting what is and striving to become better.
This has been such an incredible deep dive into Al-Qadar. We talked about how divine decree and human responsibility work together, about the importance of nurturing our fitra, about trusting in Allah's plan, and how important it is to focus on developing good character. It's given me a lot to think about for sure.
And we're just scratching the surface. The hadiths we looked at today are just a small taste of the wisdom that's in Sunan al Tirmidhi, Volume 4. I hope you'll keep exploring, dig deeper into these teachings, and see what else you can discover.
Thank you so much for joining us for this exploration of divine decree. May Allah grant us all understanding, guidance, and the strength to live according to His will. Until next time, peace and blessings be upon you all.